No English village is complete without its church, and here is a classic parish church. This church is actually 950 years old this year. This was actually they started to build it on the orders of the First Lord William de Fay, but what's unusual about the parish church is, although it looks like a parish church, it wasn't a parish church, in fact, until 1881. As I said in another video about the court, the church was actually the family chapel right up until 1881, when the massively expanding nearby Torquay town, which was nothing in 1800, but boomed into tens of thousands of people in the following century. The demand was enormous, and so eventually this private chapel had to be a church. And what the villagers used to do was they would go from Cockington to the neighbouring parish of Tormahoan, where the mother church was, and the main village of Tor, and that is, they would go and worship at that church. And one of the most interesting things about that is, you'll probably notice, there's no graveyard here. And yet in the burial register of this church, there are like nearly 300 burials registered at this church, but no graveyard. And we know that there's no graveyard because, with it being not a registered parish church, it couldn't have had consecrated ground. And so what did they do? They did what we do today, really. They would have a service, and then the body would be moved to where it would go to its final resting place. So they would hold the service here at the church. The death would be recorded in the parish register, and then the cortege would take the body 2 or 3 miles in that direction to the church at Tor, where it would be buried there, not recorded in the parish register there, which is very confusing because then we don't quite know where everyone is. But that's what would have happened for centuries and centuries and centuries. It's got a lot of history. Of course, all the lords in the village were buried in there, but the locals themselves are 2 or 3 miles away, and that's Cockington Church.